All right, what's going on, everybody? Hope y'all are having a beautiful, blessed day out there today in Jesus' name. So I wanted to talk about the Oricon sales rankings for 2023. I'm pretty hype about this because we finally got the numbers now. If you guys don't know, typically the Oricon kind of manga sales numbers year calendar, I guess they kind of go by as like end of November to the next end of November time frame. So it's based off of that. And that's why the numbers for them have already come out now, even though we're not at the end of December right now, end of year actually. So that's just kind of how it works a little bit. But I'm very excited, like I said, because there are some awesome series that I personally am a fan of and love, and they are sitting at some pretty good sales numbers and pretty good spots ranking wise for the year. So let's go ahead and jump into this thing right now. But before we do jump into the 2023 sales rankings, I do want to reference the Oricon sales rankings for 2022, just so we could see how things kind of played out last year and how things shifted over the course of the year, because there's lots of factors that do play into how these things trend, how many copies they end up selling, and things of that nature. Things like, did they have an anime premiere recently? Was there a season 2 or a sequel of the anime that premiered? Like, what caused a lot of the buzz that played into why these are selling, why these are getting more popular, things of that nature. How many manga volumes did they actually release throughout the year? Big things like that. So let's go ahead and let me switch my screen view so you guys can see my screen and things that we're talking about here. So before, like I said, I wanted to reference the Oricon sales for 2022 before we jump over to 2023 so we could see how things kind of changed and shifted. So first place last year came in at 12.2 million copies, and that was Jujutsu Kaisen. So Jujutsu Kaisen, you know, the first season, I believe, premiered in 2021. Let me reference that real quick. I believe I have it pulled up. Yeah, so Jujutsu Kaisen premiered in October 3rd for its first season, and then the second half carried on over into the winter season of anime and ended in 2021. So typically, if you see an anime season for a series premiere at some point during a year, usually you don't see like the full scope of how much and how popular that series really gets in it reflecting to its manga sales until usually the following year. So like this here, it ended its season in 2021 or early 2021, and you didn't really see the dividends or whatever, or the popularity scale or whatever, until this came out in 2022, until the Oricon sales rankings of that year. Not everybody is watching that anime at that one point when it's airing seasonally. Lots of people pick it up a little bit later down the line, a little bit later in the year as the year goes by. But typically, like I said, if it has a really successful anime season, popular one that happens at that point in its year or something, and usually the next year you will see a big jump because more people discover it later down the line and stuff like that. So that's kind of how things usually play out. But it doesn't always happen like that though. But okay, we have Tokyo Revengers 2 at number 2, so with 11 million copies, and Spy Family at 10.6 million copies, One Piece at 10.3 million copies. So there's like a little tight race here between Tokyo Revengers, Spy Family, and One Piece, and then My Hero Academia coming in at 5th place at 5.3 million copies. So big dip there in copies sold, going from 4th place to 5th place with One Piece and My Hero Academia. And then Kingdom as well, going to 3.8 million. Blue Lock coming in at 3.5 million, and I believe at this point Blue Lock had, I think, just started airing. I believe Blue Lock just started airing its anime at this point, but Blue Lock was already picking up steam before the anime even came out. Same thing with Spy Family, I believe. Like, I think at this point, let me check, I think I have it pulled up. So Spy Family came out and actually premiered in April of 2022. So yeah, last year of 2022. So by the time the sales for this came out, it was already, you know, the anime was picked up and stuff like that. It was already aired at some point. So yeah, there was a lot of hype around Spy Family, so that's a big reason as to that, I believe. And then Tokyo Revengers, I believe, ended its season in November of 2021 as well. So like I said, it ended in 2021, but you don't really see the dividends in the popularity increase and correlating into those manga sales until the following year, so the 2022 sales and everything. And then Chainsaw Man coming in at 3.4 million copies sold. And then we also have Do Not Say Mystery. I don't believe I've seen or read this manga personally. I don't know what it's about or anything like that, but it has some pretty good numbers, coming in at 3.1 million copies. I don't believe this has an anime or anything like that in some form. And then let's go on to the last one. So number 10 was Kaiju number 8 which there's a lot of hype around. I know there's an anime that's going to be coming out for it, I believe next year, so in 2024, not too long from now. There's a lot of hype, like I said, coming around that because I hear it's pretty good. And with that anime coming out, I'm believing that those numbers are going to pump up for sure next year. So that's just the 2022 manga sales that we have there for Oricon sales rankings and everything. So let's go ahead and jump over to the actual sales rankings for this year that we had, because it's pretty exciting. I'm really hype about it. Okay, so these are the Oricon sales for 2023, with Blue Lock coming in at number 1 with 10.5 million copies sold, which is so fucking hype. I'm excited about it. I'm sorry for cussing, but I'm hype about that because I love Blue Lock. It was so cool. One of my favorite anime that has come out as of recently, got me to love the game of soccer and be more interested in it when I was pretty like off put by the game of soccer itself before. So again, love the series, love what's coming out for it, hype about the Nagi movie that's going to be coming out. I believe a trailer came out for that just recently too, and then as well as season 2 that's going to be upcoming as well. Again, super hyped. There's lots of excitement around Blue Lock. Its anime came out at the end of 2022 during the fall season of anime and carried on into 2023. So there's lots to be hype about. There was lots of people discovering the anime, and that carried on with its popularity. It was already popular before the anime even came out. So now that the anime came out, it just boosts it up even more and makes the popularity of it jump up even higher, and it correlates and shows with the copies sold. You know, Blue Lock coming in at number 1. Again, super freaking hype. I'm so excited about that. And then we got Jujutsu Kaisen coming in at number 2 with 8.5 million copies. And then at number 3, we got One Piece coming in at 7.1 million copies. So One Piece sitting at number 3 there. And then Oshinoko coming in at 5.4 million copies, which I believe that Oshinoko will have a big jump next year. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be like 13 million copies or anything like that, but I do think it's going to have a big jump. It'll probably be like, I want to say top 3, I'd say, in manga sales for next year, I think. And again, the reason I say that is because the anime premiered this year and it was pretty successful. A lot of people loved it. I loved it. And like I said, it usually shows in dividends of the manga sale jump the following year. Because it came out this year, you will see that manga jump. Those sale numbers will go higher and higher as of next year. So the 2024 Oricon sales, I'm expecting that Oshinoko is going to be up there for sure, higher than the 5.4 million copies sold of this year. So we have at number 5, Chainsaw Man with 5.3 million copies sold, which is, I'm surprised that Chainsaw Man's not a little bit higher, because I know the anime, I think, came out last year. I was expecting it to be a little bit higher than this, but yeah, I guess that's just how things played out for Chainsaw Man. And then we got Slam Dunk at 4.9 million copies, which is very surprising to me because I'm like, Slam Dunk is an old manga. Sorry if there's some loud noise out there. I got cars passing by. Slam Dunk is a pretty old manga that I believe ended a long time ago, right? But I think that one thing that did play a part in its increase in copies sold is people, you know, more people discovering the anime of Slam Dunk, but also because I believe there is a movie that came out, a Slam Dunk movie that did premiere sometime this year, I believe, or maybe it didn't premiere. I'm pretty sure that it's either coming out or it already came out this year, which I think, like I said, is a big reason why the popularity rose more and more copies are being sold for the manga for Slam Dunk there. And then coming in at number 7 is Spy Family. So Spy Family sitting at 4.3 million copies. Spy Family has had a lot of buzz around it. I believe it came out with its anime last year during the spring season of anime and then ended in the fall season of anime. So I'm a little surprised that this didn't jump up more than what it was, I guess. Because Spy Family, I felt like, was at a higher peak when it was, well, I don't know, I guess. Let me see. So it had a higher peak of copies sold and its ranking and whatever with its manga around the time when it was airing still. But, you know, typically, like I said, usually you'll see that jump up the following year for that manga. But for Spy Family, it was a little bit different, I guess. It was at its peak kind of when it was in the midst of its airing and stuff for the anime. And then we have My Hero Academia sitting at number 8 right now with 3.5 million copies sold. And yeah, a lot of people are saying like they're surprised that My Hero is still there. I mean, some people are saying that they're surprised that it's not in the top 5. but I guess it's kind of expected that it's not in the top 5 because I believe that they didn't release as many volumes as it kind of typically does. I believe only 3 volumes came out for My Hero Academia, so the less volumes that you put out throughout the year, the less sales that you're going to have versus other series that come out with like 5 or 6 volumes throughout that year. There's more availability, more new content to buy, therefore more copies are going to be sold for that series. So My Hero Academia sitting at number 8 right there. And typically I believe they're usually at like top 5 or something like that. They're not usually like top 3, I don't think, but they're at least usually top 5. And then Tokyo Revengers we have at 3.2 million copies sold. So Tokyo Revengers was sitting at number 2 last year, but is now sitting at number 9, which I believe maybe a part to play in that is, I don't know, I can't remember if the series ended or not. I don't read the Tokyo Revengers manga, but I know I've watched it in some fashion. I've watched at least season 1. There's tons of people that told me, or that have been saying, you know, that Tokyo Revengers, the quality just dies down for sure for the series. Maybe that's a big reason as to why there was such a big dip in manga sales for Tokyo Revengers 1, because it's probably been a while since, yeah, it's been a bit since it came out, and also too, the quality of the story most likely dipped down since everybody is saying that it did. And then at number 10, we got Kingdom with 3.2 million copies sold. So Kingdom is pretty close to being in that number 9 spot here. So it was a pretty tight race here between Tokyo Revengers and Kingdom. But one thing that I did hear about Kingdom, or I have continuously heard about Kingdom, is that it is an amazing series. So many people have told me to read Kingdom. I've always heard other like YouTubers and stuff like that have recommended reading Kingdom and that get hype over Kingdom, and it's one of those series that I do really want to read. That and like Vinland Saga are those 2 series that I do want to dive into. I haven't watched the anime for Kingdom. I have for Vinland Saga, and I love Vinland Saga and I want to read the manga for it. Kingdom I have not consumed in any sort of way, but just because of word of mouth of all these people are saying that it's amazing, I want to go ahead and dive into it and see what all of the buzz is about Kingdom. That is the Oricon sales ranking of 2023. Lots of crazy numbers out there, some big dips that we did see in some numbers. Crazy that Slam Dunk is as high as it is right now with its manga sales. Blue Lock, awesome to see that it's high right now, but I did want to jump into a couple of things just so we can take into account the trends and the differences from the previous years to kind of get a little bit of a snippet or some insight as to maybe why these sales are the way that they are, or maybe why aren't they as high as they were before. So let's go over here. The best selling manga titles for the first half of 2023. So this is something that I was going to make a video about earlier in the year because I was super hyped that Blue Lock was just steamrolling the rest of the competition and that it was just gaining so many copies sold, and yeah, it was just super hyped for myself and just all Blue Lock fans seeing it at number 1 there. So I was gonna make a video about it before, but time passed and I didn't get to end up doing it. So I was just like, I'll probably make a video about it when we get to the end of the year, because I was expecting Blue Lock would still be at number 1 in hopes that it would be. But best-selling manga from the first half, so Blue Lock was at number 1, Chainsaw Man was at number 2, Slam Dunk was at number 3, Jujutsu Kaisen was at number 4, and One Piece was at number 5. So let's see how things really shifted from halfway through the year to where we were, or where we are now with the end results. So Blue Lock was at number 1 at the halfway point. Blue Lock, we know, is the current number 1 holder for the year. Chainsaw Man was at number 2, but it did end up falling to number 5. So it had about 4.4, almost 4.5 million copies sold, but only jumped up to 5.3 million copies sold. So not a huge jump there for Chainsaw Man. I'm not sure what played a part in that. Maybe it's the timing of the release of some of its manga volumes or things of that nature. Maybe only like 1 more volume came out, or not that many came out, or maybe another one didn't come out at that point throughout the year. And then we have Slam Dunk that was at 4.1 million, or almost 4.2 million copies sold at the halfway point, and it jumped up. It was at number 3 and it's at number 6 at the end of the year here. So seeing some dips there, but also seeing some jumps too. So Jujutsu Kaisen was at number 4 at the halfway point, and then jumped all the way up to number 2. So this one had a big jump in copies sold and in its placing here. So Jujutsu Kaisen going from number 4 to number 2, and jumping from 3.7 million copies sold up to 8.5 million copies sold. So like almost a 5 million copy difference there going from halfway point up until the end of the year, which is crazy considering some of the minimal changes that we did see from the other series that we had here. And not minimal for Blue Lock, because that's like a 2 million copy jump there. But Chainsaw Man only had like a 700,000 or something like that jump, I believe. So, or only like a 800,000 copy sold jump there, because it went from 4.5 million pretty much to 5.3 million there. And then Slam Dunk going from 4.2 million copies sold up to 4.9. So only about like a 700,000 copy sold difference. So only like not even a million difference there, but Jujutsu Kaisen legit had like a 5 million copy sold difference almost. So that's insane there. And then we got One Piece. So that had 3.5 million copies sold at the halfway point of the year, and it was sitting at number 5, but jumped all the way up to number 3. So a 2-spot jump that they had there, and jumping from 3.5 million copies sold all the way up to 7.1, almost 7.2 million copies sold. So that also had a pretty dang significant jump in copies sold going into the latter part of the year. So that's crazy. I'm wondering kind of what the drivers were for those huge jump in manga sales for Jujutsu Kaisen and One Piece in particular. Maybe they released like 2 volumes of the manga during that year or something like that, or those manga volumes in particular that did release at that time frame were like their most popular ones or something along those lines. Okay, so we've seen the shifts in where some of these series placed from halfway point of the year to the current state now. Let's jump over to this little page here to see kind of what the correlation might be to why some of these are sitting the way that they are right now. One, I think it's of course the popularity, people loving the series and stuff, but also because they had the most volumes that came out during that year time span there. Since this had 5, we have Jujutsu Kaisen that came in at number 2 that had 4 volumes sold, so less than Blue Lock there. Maybe if they had 5 that came out this year, maybe it would be a little bit closer to the actual Blue Lock series. And then we had One Piece with only 3 volumes this year, but still ended up hitting 7 million copies sold for the year. So imagine if One Piece had 1 more volume come out throughout the year, or 2 even, and hit that 5. I would expect that this number would jump up closer to this 10 million for sure. And then we got Oshinoko with 4 volumes and still had 5.4 million copies sold. So it had a good amount, same amount as Jujutsu Kaisen, but still had like a 3 million less copies sold throughout the year. Chainsaw Man with 3 copies. I might be phrasing this a little bit funny, but I'm not meaning only 4 volumes were sold. I mean that 4 volumes came out throughout the year. So 4 new volumes came out, 3 new volumes came out for Chainsaw Man. And then for Slam Dunk, no new volumes came out because, like I said, it's a series that already ended and it's an old one at that. But very, very impressive that it's still sitting where it's at right now in the top 10 for Oricon sales when it didn't have any new volumes come out for it. It's insane. Like I said, I think that movie that did come out was a big driver of that. And yeah, let's move on to Spy Family. So Spy Family only had 2 new volumes come out this year, but still sitting at 4.3 million copies sold, which is a like pretty insane mark there too. You know, imagine if they had more volumes come out, it'd probably be at this crazy, let me see, it would probably be maybe a little bit closer to the 10 million mark, maybe like 8 million or something like that, than where it's sitting at right now with 4 million. And then we got My Hero Academia with 3 volumes sold, sitting at 3.5 million. And then Tokyo Revengers with only 1 new volume that came out this year, and still hitting that 3.2 million copies sold mark. That is pretty impressive. That is pretty crazy that you only had 1 new volume come out for that series this year, and you're still sitting at top 10 at 3.2 copies sold. That is insane. You know, Tokyo Revengers did have 11 million copies sold and was sitting at the number 2 spot last year, and only came in, you know, with 1 new volume that came out and still had 3.2 million. Maybe they had a decent amount come out and maybe had like 3 or 4 volumes that released in 2022, and that's why it hit this mark here. And then with Kingdom coming in at number 10, it had 4 volumes that came out this year, hitting that 3.2 million mark there. So it had a decent amount that did come out, new volumes, but still sitting at that 3.2. So that's kind of like the safe bet there. But there are some anomalies for sure that did happen. Like I said, Tokyo Revengers, very, very impressive that they only had 1 new volume come out this year and still hit the top 10, as well as Slam Dunk not having any new volume sold, being an old manga that ended already, but with the hype around the movie that came out and everything, I'm assuming is what boosted it as well. It hit almost 5 million copies sold. That is crazy. Look at that number here. So plus 260% that changed for them. And then Spy Family still hitting 4.3 million copies sold when it only had 2 new volumes come out. I think that was a big part that played into why it's sitting as low as it is right now. Still top 10, still great numbers and everything, but the fact that it didn't release as many volumes come out as some of the other series out there, I think that did play a part in it for sure. Then Chainsaw Man hitting 3, decent amount, still hitting 5.3 million there. And then I think maybe the hype died down from it from the anime, and then as well as maybe the first 3 volumes came out during closer to like the beginning of the year or something like that, and they didn't release one maybe during the latter part of the year. Maybe that played a part in it. But yeah, I think that there's some correlation there between, of course, the amount of volumes that did come out this year for these series and how many they actually sold. Like I said, Blue Lock with the most volumes that did come out this year, having the most sales, so 10.5 million copies sold for the year. So I just wanted to jump into some of that stuff. So pretty crazy seeing the numbers that we did get this year for the Oricon sales for 2023. Blue Lock, again, hype. I'm so excited that this is at 10.5 million copies sold, sitting at the #1 spot. And then we got some more coming in the near future with the Nagi movie, and then season 2 coming too. Pretty awesome stuff. Jujutsu Kaisen jumping up in sales as well. I think that Jujutsu Kaisen will continue to have good sales because of season 2, the Shibuya arc that is currently ongoing right now with its anime. Shibuya has been freaking insane, so I think that there's going to be a big jump maybe next year for Jujutsu Kaisen, or maybe it's just going to have and be consistently very high in the rankings for its Oricon manga sales there. So a lot of stuff like that. Things to look forward to in the future. One Piece is getting crazy. One Piece has had so many crazy things come out for its series. I know right here, I think that they are now in the Egghead Island arc as of right now, which so many insane things are happening within the Egghead arc right now that a lot of people are going to be excited about. Some huge revelations are coming into light for One Piece in that arc right now. So I think that One Piece, it's just going to stay very high as well, depending on the amount of volumes that do come out for next year. I'm expecting it to still be pretty dang high for One Piece. And then as well as Oshinoko, I'm expecting Oshinoko's numbers to jump. Right now it's sitting at 5.4 million for the year, but I think next year it'll be closer to like 8 million or closer to maybe the 10 million mark or something like that. Slam Dunk, I don't expect it to continue to be on the trend that it's in right now. I don't think it's going to be as high as it is right now because the hype from the movie, I believe, will be died down by then, and I don't think it's going to be top 10, but we'll see. Crazier things have happened, I'm sure. And then Spy Family, I believe that if they put out more volumes next year, that it'll be in the top 5 possibly as well. The anime is currently ongoing right now for its season 2, and then the movie is going to be coming out pretty soon for it as well. So I think that Spy Family is going to have a lot of hype around it. You're going to see the numbers for that jump up a lot too, or at least be higher than what they are currently, and it's going to have a higher standing possibly. My Hero Academia, that's a little bit like, I don't know. I don't hear too much buzz about My Hero Academia at all really anymore. I think that it's on its like downtrend possibly until we really get truly to like the end of the series, and then we'll start seeing it pick up a little bit more, but I'm not sure where it's sitting at. I heard that it was ending at some point, but it's still kind of going on, and I don't hear anything about it, so I don't know where it's going to stand next year. If it ends next year, I think for sure that you'll see a jump in it, but I still don't think that it's going to be like top 5 or anything like that, or maybe it will, who knows. My Hero Academia is like that anomaly where I'm like, I don't know where that's going to stand. And then Tokyo Revengers, I'm not sure if that ended or not. I don't think it did end. I think that it's still ongoing right now, or maybe it's not. I might be wrong, but if it did end, then maybe you'll see a big jump next year or something like that because it ended already. Or I don't know how things are going to play out for that, I guess, for Tokyo Revengers. We'll see what happens with Tokyo Revengers. And then Kingdom is one as well that I'm not sure will be in the top 10 next year. Maybe it will. Maybe there's some greatness that does come out from the Kingdom series, and it's typically top 10 or really a pretty high selling series out there. So it might be in the top 10 next year. It might not. I'm not sure. It's on the cusp right now, sitting at that number 10 spot. So we'll see what happens with Kingdom as well. But that was pretty fun checking out some of the Oricon sales, seeing how many volumes released throughout the year for some of those series and the copies sold, seeing how things trended from the halfway point throughout the year up until this point, seeing the difference between last year's sales and then this year's sales as well is pretty cool. Seeing things shift, seeing some of these newer series that are coming out and within animes and stuff like that, and it influencing the kind of sales that we do see for the manga for different series like these that we do see here. So it's awesome. I can't wait to see how things kind of play out in the near future next year with newer series coming out, or just some of these series that came out this year with anime that might influence the outcome of next year's Oricon sales. So awesome stuff there. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. Are you excited that Blue Lock is sitting at the top right now? It's got the throne as of right now, or just some of the other series that you might love sitting at the spots that they are at right now. Maybe you're surprised that some of these series are sitting where they're at currently right now. Let me know your thoughts down below. Hope you all have a blessed rest of your day. Make sure to like the video if you guys can. I greatly appreciate it. Also, make sure to subscribe if you haven't already. That'd be amazing. And also make sure to hit that notification bell down below to get notified for whenever I do upload a video, go live, or do any fun stuff like that. But I hope you all have an amazing, blessed rest of your day. And remember, Jesus loves you. He cares about you, and he wants you to seek him out. And I'll catch you all later. See ya. Bye-bye.